now proceed to the conferral of the Honorary Doctorate on Patricia Crone and Michael Cook. Please could you step forward. On the recommendation of the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and as advised by the Executive Board, the Doctorate Board has resolved to award the title of Honorary Doctor to Patricia Crone and Michael Cook in recognition of their outstanding achievements. Professor Sijpenstein is appointed Honorary Supervisor. She is empowered to invest you, Mrs. Crone and Mr. Cook, with this title in the prescribed manner. Professor Sijpenstein, please.
Aanvaard ik de taak mij door de rector magnificus der universiteit opgedragen. Michael Cook and Patricia Crone are two of the giants of early Islamic history. And early Islamic history is one of the great turning points of human history. It is also one of the historically most challenging, because its source base dates from several centuries after the events it describes. So reconstructing this period requires exceptional control of the material and unusual ingenuity. It is for their remarkable contributions in confronting these challenges and the illumination they have brought that we honor them today. Both Michael and Patricia trained at the School of African and Oriental Studies in London, in SOAS's great golden age, where a new generation of Islamicists, experimenting with more sophisticated strategies of interpretation, began to apply to Islamic history the methods of source criticism that had been so successfully used in Islamic theology and law. Groundbreaking work on the historical sources of Islam quickly followed. Two overarching themes especially stand out. The first is an unwavering commitment to the sources. Michael and Patricia stand fully in the finest Near Eastern studies tradition of philological exactitude and sheer, exhaustive learning. It is a tradition built upon total mastery of the source material, acquired through many years of relentless mental exertion. A tradition whose 400-year history we also celebrate today. It is precisely this immersion in the sources and absolute loyalty to what they actually say, that has allowed them again and again to see their way through layers of accurate assumption and misinterpretation to reveal apparently long-resolved historical problems in a revelatory new light. It is built on a profound respect for those whose voices the sources represent, and a determination that these voices be clearly heard, without distortion and without embellishment. The second outstanding achievement is to lift Islam out of the confines of Islamic studies and to restore it to its rightful place at the cross-currents of Near Eastern thought and religious history. What this has given us is an incomparably richer early Islam, one in which the sounds of 7th century Arabia have been brought brilliantly to life. Thanks to their work, we can now see the pre-Islamic precedents, late Roman influences, Sasanian customs, Jewish rites and Christian practice that enlivened this world and shaped Islam's genesis from the very point of its conception. They have taken Islam, in other words, out of the peninsula and into the wider world of late antiquity, where it has remained ever since. The comprehensive re-evaluation of early Islamic history that this set in motion continues and has inspired much of what is the most original and stimulating in the field today. What has been so consistently striking to me in the years that I have known Michael and Patricia is not just their extraordinary erudition, but the remarkable pleasure they derive from their work and from sharing it with others. It is evidenced in the elegance and precision of their writing styles. Michael and Patricia are both unusually readable and have both written works with great success for non-academic audiences. And it is also what makes them such great readers of papers and chapters and such wonderful teachers. Whether in a small tutorial at Cambridge, an overloaded lecture at SOAS, a preparatory meeting for an aspiring job candidate, or an informal dinner at her house, Patricia's generosity with her time and attention is a byword. I can think of no scholar of my generation in this field who has not benefited from it and who does not cherish the memory of it. She's ever open to discussion and adamant that any scholar or student, at whatever stage in their career, should be heard. To be listened to have one's ideas engaged with, seriously and critically, by someone of Patricia's intelligence, integrity, and humanness, is an experience that stays with one forever. I, like so many of my colleagues, am eternally grateful for it. To be trained in the Cook method is an incomparably rewarding, albeit challenging, experience. It has meant that a horde of graduate students has worked and is still working thankfully with him. Michael takes on any argument with the same rigorously critical attitude, but he also has a fantastic eye for all the quirky, crazy details of history. It is this enthusiasm combined with thoroughness that has led to Michael's own outstanding contributions in the field. But perhaps even more importantly, his rigor calls upon all of us to strive for the very highest standards of scholarly excellence. The contributions that Patricia Crone and Michael Cook have made to the study of early Islamic history can hardly be overstated. Any of these achievements would have earned them a place amongst the very first rank of today's Islamic historians. Taken all together, they place them amongst the first rank of Islamic historians ever. Leiden Honorary Doctorates are given rarely and sparingly. I'm very proud to say that Michael and Patricia stand in the very finest tradition of this honor. Domna per docta, Patricia Crone, praestantissima, in inclito instituto fovendis studiis superioribus Princetoniensi professor, ac historiarum orientis ciтерioris simul et religionis Islamicae assidua exploratrix. Nec non, vir doctissimus, Michael Cook, insignis in illustri Academia Princetoniensi professor, ac rerum orientis ciтерioris sedulus inquisitor, multa et maxima in litteris praestiterunt. Conjunctis enim laboribus studia originum Islamicarum ratione tam singulari excoluerunt ut ea in perpetuum mutarint, reformarint, ret integrarint. Ideo, hoc persuasum habemus, eos, de studiis humanioribus egregiae meruisse. Statuimus igitur et decrevimus quadringentesimum tricesimum octavum diem natalem Academiae nostrae solemniter celebrantes utrumque vere dignum esse qui a nobis doctor honoris causa creatur. Ex auctoritate igitur nobis lege concessa eos nunc doctores honoris causa creamus praedicamus renuntiamus. Cuius rei ut sit certa atque testata fides diploma publicum manu rectoris facultatis decani nec non promotricis subscriptum et academiae maiore sigillo confirmatum eis tradetur redetur tribuetur.
It is my pleasant duty, Honorary Doctors Crone and Cook, to congratulate you on behalf of the Leiden University community on the achievement of this esteemed honor.
Rector Magnifique, ladies and gentlemen, nearly 400 years ago, a Spanish Muslim, a Morisco, spent quite a while here in Leiden. This was shortly after the expulsion of the Moriscos from Spain. And during the time he spent in Leiden, he noticed, of course, the existence of the university. He called it the Academy, an academy that teaches all sciences, just like the one in Salamanca. But what he really paid attention to was the young and newly installed professor of Arabic. And in his account of his time in Leiden, he highlighted two things about this young professor of Arabic. First, he remarked that the professor for teaching Arabic drew a large salary. And second, he noted that the professor spoke Arabic with the full classical, verbal, and nominal inflections. In other words, in a phrase that was apparently used at the time, he spoke Latin Arabic. Now, in the last 400 years, I don't know how academic salaries have held up in this university. I'm sure it would make a nice PowerPoint slide, but I don't have that information. What I do know is that in the field of Latin Arabic, academic standards have gone from strength to strength at this university. So much so that if one had to pick out one place in the whole of Europe, indeed in the whole of the Western world, one place that did more than anywhere else for the development of Arabic studies, it would have to be the University of Leiden. And it's against that background that I would like to express to you, Rector Magnifique, and to the university you represent for a few minutes longer, I would like to express my profound gratitude for the honor that you have done me. There comes a point in one's career where one looks back over the decades and the twists and turns of the years, and one starts to wonder whether anything one did was really meritorious. And to me it's a tremendous encouragement to know that when you scrutinize my curriculum vitae, as you must have done, you are able to find something somewhere that measured up to the exacting standards of the University, of De Goeie, of Snoek-Goergronje, of Wensink, and so many others. So let me end again by thanking you, but also by expressing the wish that the next 400 years of Arabic studies at this university will be as successful as the first 400 years. Thank you.
Rector, ladies and gentlemen, I took it for granted that my colleague would say practically everything that I could possibly have to say, and as expected, he did. So let me just add that a few things of my own, and what I have to add is that as long as I've been academic, the name of Leiden has conjured up two things, and one is Arabic scholarship, the great scholars that Michael mentioned, and Oriental studies in general, but given my interest, especially Arabic and Islamic studies. And the other thing that it conjured up was Brill. And Brill is the booksellers who publish a lot of studies in our field, and also publish some of the most basic tools of our trade. And so between them, those two, the university with its tradition of Arabic studies and Brill with its wonderful publications, added up to a formidable place. And I can tell you one thing, that never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I would ever one day get an honorary doctorate in this venerable and most admirable bastion of learning. So what can I say but very many thanks for the great honor.